Hey, welcome back. So, the other day I tried to do a video on this using trigonometry and I didn't take the world orientation of the slopes into consideration when I did those. So that's why I took the video down, is because that method it won't work properly like you would want it to in a game. Not without having to make the math in it too complex, and you don't want a whole lot of complex trig functions being ran on a tick because that's very computationally expensive. And so I found another method that somebody else put together, and this is it right here. It's he made this article back in 2015. And this is basically what I'm going to show y'all how to do today. I ran into a few problems when I was following along with it, so I'm going to show y'all how to do it so that you don't have any issues getting it to work in a modern Unreal Engine project. So let's get started. So first off, under our content folder, I'm just going to create a curve. So we're going to go to miscellaneous, we're going to go to curve, and we're going to go to curve float. Now this is going to drive our speed based on the angle of the surface. We're doing it this way because it's easier to do it this way. It allows us to just drive all this without having to use any math. So I'm going to call this C movement speed, or you could call it angle movement speed, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to right click, we're going to open up it, double click, and then right click on the line and add a key, add another one, add another one, and add another one. So on this first one, for -45 on the first slot, and then 900 on this slot, and then I will explain to you what all these, while we're doing these values, while we're using them. -10 on the second one, and then 600 for the speed. So on the second one we're going to have an angle of +10. On the third one we're going to have an angle of +10 and 600 for the speed. And then on the last one here, we're going to have an angle of +45 and a speed of 100. So let's zoom out until you can see it. So with this last one selected, just right click on it and go to auto, and then right click and drag, or zoom out and then drag to go to the next two and select those, and then go to break and click off of those, and then go to the first one and set that one to auto. So now we have a semi-smooth curve coming down here. Now what this is for is basically for an angle of -45. We want it to, a -45-degree angle means that we're going downhill, and a +45-degree angle means we're going uphill. And if it's between -10 and 10 degrees, then we don't want it to affect the speed. We want them to move at the same speed. That's why we created two right here for -10 and 10, and we set both of those to 600. So anything between those values are going to slowly climb up towards there. So we're going to save that, and then we're going to close it. Now we're going to go to third person BP, blueprints, and we're going to double click this. Now over here we're going to make, well, first off, go to event graph and right click and type in event tick and press enter, and then drag off a delta seconds and promote it to a variable, and just, you don't have to rename it, it'll work just like that. So we're going to use this to interpolate the movement speed, the target movement speed, with our current movement speed, That way, when you hit when you suddenly hit a 45-degree angle, you're not going to suddenly slow down. You're going to gradually slow down. So let's go ahead and create our functions. Our first one is going to be UpdateMovement. Our second one is going to be ShouldMove. Our third one is going to be GetMovementAngle. And our fourth one is going to be SetMovementAngle. Now on the SetMovementAngle, we're going to have an input of, well, it's going to be a float. And we're just going to call it angle. Press enter. On GetMovementAngle, we're going to have an output of float, and we're going to call it angle. And on our ShouldMove, we're going to have an output. It's going to be a boolean, and we're just going to call it ShouldMove. Now, back on the UpdateMovement function, we're going to drag out our ShouldMove function, connect it up. We're going to drag off of, and if your parameter says new parameter like that, you should be able to just, let's see, compile it, and then refresh, and there you go. And then it'll compile without errors. So type in branch, and then we're going to get movement angle if this is true. And then we're going to set the movement angle. Then we're going to connect these two angles up. And then on the should, we're just going to drag the character movement out, and we're going to say is falling. We're going to do a not off of that because we want to know if he's not falling. Now we're going to get his velocity. Type in get velocity, and then scroll down to the bottom, and you should see it under velocity, get velocity. So off of this, we're going to do a vector length. And what this is going to do is this vector length is going to return back our current speed. So if we're not moving, if we're not falling, and well, off vector length say is greater than 0, that's fine. So if we're not falling and we're not moving, then we should move. And if not, it'll return false, and it won't let us move. Or it won't affect our movement speed, I should say. So the reason why we're doing this is so that it's only running those line traces when the character is moving or they're on the ground. So we don't want it to be running them while the character is falling or standing still. So off of here, we're going to do two, let's see, line trace by channel, and we're going to do 2 of these. I'll move that one out of ways and move this out as well. Now we're going to just connect these 2 up. In fact, you don't have to connect those 2 up yet. Just focus on this first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to get actor location, and we're going to need to create a variable over here. We're going to call it trace offset, and this is going to be a vector. We're going to compile this, and then we're going to set the z of that vector to -200. Oops, -200, not -20. and then we're going to get it right here, and we're going to add vector to vector, vector plus vector. That's going to be our end trace. Our actor's location is going to be our start trace. And then off of here, we're going to do a break, hit result. Off of location, we're going to promote this to local variable. We're just going to call it first. That's what he calls it, so that's what I'm going to call it. So what this is doing is it's just sending a trace out from the actor's location down to the ground. It's going to hit the ground. It's going to get the location of the ground. You might be asking, well, why can't we just get the location of the mesh, since it's going to be at the root, which should be about on the ground level? Well, it's not exactly on the ground, and so you're not going to get the exact results. You could do that, but just know that, you know, it might cause issues. It may not, but that's up to you if you want to do that. But you could probably get away with getting the mesh and get location, get world location, and plug that in. But the angles it returns are going to be off by up to like 5 degrees. So just know that it's not going to work exactly like this will if you do it that way. So anyway, let's get our character movement. We're going to get velocity again and scroll down. Under velocity, get velocity. We're first going to normalize this to give us a value between 0 and 1. And then we're going to get vector length. Let's try vector length. And then we're going to clamp, let's see, map range clamped. Yeah. And then off of character movement, we're going to get max walk speed. So this is going to return a speed, the speed of our character, again like I said before, between 0 and whatever, and we want to clamp this to be between 0 and the max walk speed, and we want to clamp this range based on this range that we have, 0 to walk speed, which is probably 600, and we want to map that to a range between 0 and 100. And then we're going to multiply vector by vector, or no, I'm sorry, vector by float. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us an offset in the vector's direction. It's going to give us an offset value that's pointing in the same direction as the velocity, and it's going to scale it up to 100 units. So that's just an arbitrary value how far out we're going with this, but again we're going to get our actor location, and we're going to, let's see, multiply vector by vector. Or am I supposed to be adding here? Actually, yeah, I think I'm supposed to be adding here. And then we're going to add again the trace offset. So this is going to be, and let me just check here, make sure I'm doing this right. I don't want to steer y'all wrong. So if we come back down here, let's see, right here. Yeah. So back over here, this is our start. So what's going on here is we're getting a position from the actor's location, and we're adding this offset in the direction of the velocity to that, and we're starting it there, and then we're tracing downward. So when the player is moving, let's say he's moving forward, it's going to send out a trace that goes forward and then down. So it'll be running, so if he's running here, if the character's right here, the line trace will be right here and it'll be going down in front of him. So that's how that works. And it'll hit the ground, and it'll give us this result here. So if we break our hit result and we drag out our first, and let's say find, look at rotation. Yeah, so we want to get find, look at rotation, and the target is the location we hit. And now what this is going to do is it's going to create a rotator. It's going to create a rotator that points from the player towards the direction that he's moving, uphill or downhill. And to demonstrate this, we'll go ahead and add an arrow here, and we'll just call this velocity direction, and then we'll uncheck hidden in game so that we can see it, and then we'll drag that out and we'll set rotation, set world rotation, and then hold control down while clicking that, and it'll let you drag it over here to this one. Now off of here, we're going to break this rotator, and we need another variable here. We're going to call this movement curve, or you can call it speed curve, or whatever you want to call it. But up here under variable type, drop down, and under search, just type in curve. And right down here at the bottom, you'll see curve float. Compile it, and then drop down this list right here and select the curve you created, and then drag this out, get it, and then let's see, get float value right here, and then Y will be our end time. On theirs they used X, but I guess the coordinate system has slightly changed since then. Plug this rotator into your velocity direction set world rotation thing that we set up here. That way you can see which way it's pointing. This isn't necessary, but it'll kind of give you an idea as to how this works. So moving on to set movement angle. What we're going to do is we're going to actually that's supposed to be set movement speed. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. Where were we? So right here on this function, I actually named it incorrectly, so instead of set movement, it should be set movement angle, it should be set movement speed. So let's see, if we open that up, what we're going to do is we're going to get the character movement, and we're going to set max walk speed, and we're just going to connect those up. Then I'm going to do an F interp 2, as in float interp 2. And what this does is we get our target angle, which is this one right here. When we get our current speed, get max walk speed, and that's our current speed. So we're going to get our current speed, and we're going to interpolate from our current speed to our target speed over delta seconds, or we're going to use delta seconds as our delta time, and we're going to, let's see, you can play around with this value until you get one that kind of feels right, but I'm just going to try 30. You might try 15 or 10 even. It depends. Whatever feels right for you. So that's pretty much it. So if we come over here to our event graph, and under event tick, just pull out update speed and set it here, then compile, save, and then run. And then you'll see that the arrow is pointing in the direction of the slope. And he's speeding up, going down, or if he's going around, he's moving at a regular speed. And yeah, so let's see. If you notice though, if you slowly go up it like this, you can move up it faster. I'm not sure there's really a fix for that, but for the most part, it seems to work. Now, if you don't like the fact that he can go up it a little bit too fast if he's walking at an angle, then you're just gonna have to tweak those values. But it does kind of flatten out once it starts getting to the top, and that's why for the most part it does that. So if we were to make this bigger, you'll notice it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, so that's pretty much it. If you found this helpful, like down below, and don't forget to subscribe.